It is the most unjust law in the land. In some states, it's still possible for violent men to kill their wives or girlfriends and then use the unbelievable excuse it was the victim's own fault. That's right, the woman is blamed for her own death because she provoked the man. She drove him to kill. In court, murder charges get downgraded to manslaughter, and prison sentences are drastically reduced. In some cases, to just a few years. It's as close to a licence to kill as there is, and it's got to stop.
It was a beautiful sunny winter's day, and I get this absolutely awful feeling, and I don't know what it is, and I found out later it was the time she was being killed.
That's the connection that you two have.
Yeah.
As twin sisters.
54-year-old Jane Ashton always looked out for her twin sister Julie.
Hope you like the flowers, sis.
But Jane couldn't protect Julie from the man her sister should have trusted most. Her husband, James Ramage.
I'm so sorry.
After 23 years of an abusive marriage, Julie left Ramage. Just weeks later, he killed her.
How do you feel about James Ramage now?
I hate his guts.
James Ramage got off his murder charge using a little-known law called the provocation defence. He blamed Julie for her own death. Ramage spent just 8 years in jail, and this is him today, a free man, living in his $1 million Melbourne home with his new girlfriend.
You bashed and strangled Julie, then buried her in a shallow grave. Do you think it's fair that you're now a free man?
The defence of provocation is a deadly loophole for violent men like James Ramage. Peter Keogh stabbed his ex-partner Vicky Cleary to death and was jailed for just 3 years and 11 months. Shamanjot Singh slit his wife's throat when she tried to leave him and was jailed for only 6 years.
There's been some horrific cases where provocation's been allowed. They all say that in some way women belong to men and that women need to toe the line. And if they don't toe the line, we as a society says, well, in fact, they asked to be killed.
Jane and her sister enjoyed a safe and happy childhood. Girlish dreams of marriage and family came early for Julie. She was still at school when she met James Ramage and fell in love. They married and had 2 children. But Jane never liked the man her twin chose to spend her life with.
He was very controlling, he was bullying. I found him personally intimidating. He'd broken her nose and he'd broken her arm.
But Ramage's violence was to take a lethal turn on the 21st of July 2003, just 6 weeks after Julie had worked up the courage to finally leave him. James lured her to the house to check on renovations.
Julie never thought she was going to be on her own in the house with him. She thought the builder was going to be there. He got rid of the builder. He was trying to get her back, try and fix things.
But James Ramage realised his marriage was completely broken. He bashed Julie, strangled her and shoved her body in the boot of his Jaguar. He then showered, calmly cleaned the house and even called a few friends to say he'd be tied up all afternoon. Finally, he drove for more than an hour to isolated bushland where he buried his wife in a shallow grave.
She's in some muddy hole while he's in a pub having a glass of wine.
This never-before-seen CCTV footage reveals Ramage meeting with his lawyers for more than 3 hours at the local pub while the family searched desperately for Julie.
He calls his lawyer, cool as a cucumber. Well, I was amazed no one went to check that she wasn't still alive. I think it's horrific.
Finally, just before midnight, Ramage's lawyers deliver him to police.
She sort of said that sex with me repulses her.
In his police interview, he claims Julie told him she was sexually repulsed by him, so he killed her.
And that's where I lost it.
It wasn't his fault, he said. She provoked him.
I don't think women that have lived with these type of men are going to provoke them. We don't know. These women are dead. I think that the only reason that they get killed is because they've left.
It's the ultimate act of domestic violence.
It is. It is. And unfortunately, provocation is the ultimate excuse.
Dr. Kate Fitzgibbon from Deakin University has spent years fighting for the archaic law to be abolished right across Australia.
It sends a message that it can be partially understandable for you to lose control and kill a woman who is leaving you.
How is it an acceptable defence in this day and age?
It's a very, very good question. It heralds back to 17th century England, to when men killed in pubs and when it was honourable to defend your honour if challenged.
After James Ramage got off his murder charge, Victorians were outraged and they abolished provocation completely, along with Western Australia. But Queensland, New South Wales and South Australia still view provocation as a valid defence for men who kill their partners. So, what's cold-blooded murder in one state gets killers a slap on the wrist just across the border.
So what it's saying is if you're a violent man and wish to kill your partner, these are the best states to do it in.
I would hate to think that people are that calculated, but absolutely.
And so, 12 years after James Ramage killed Julie, another violent man, Christopher Cullen, slaughters his wife, claiming she provoked him by taunting him about their sex life. These are the chilling final images of Comrie Cullen. The mother of three is sitting uncomfortably next to her estranged husband in court. But she is about to be kidnapped, bashed, and shoved in the boot of his car, alive. They're images that still haunt her good friend, Renee Jamar.
The hopelessness of thinking what menial, trivial things I was doing over the course of those hours while Comrie was in a boot, while Comrie was terrified, while she was trying to think of how she could get away from him because she knew that he had her in her clutches and every threat that he had ever made was about to be realised.
An hour later, cameras pick up Cullen at his favourite fishing store, casually browsing for knives, a knife sharpener, and a change of shirt. He was planning his wife's murder.
He walks around the store and there is no difference between him and any other customer in that store, except he's got his bleeding and injured wife in the boot of the car he just parked in the car park. It's absolutely horrific because of... there's nothing remarkable about it.
Christopher? Again, I'm Detective Senior Constable McNally from Langdon Detectives. Do you understand that?
In isolated mangroves, Cullen stabbed his wife 18 times and then stabbed himself to make it look like there'd been a struggle.
She stabbed me, I stabbed her.
She stabbed you and you stabbed her?
Yeah.
But it was all a lie, and it should have been an open and shut murder case. Instead, he was allowed to use the defence of provocation.
You've been arrested for the murder of Victoria Comrie Cullen. Did you commit that act?
No comment.
Even though Comrie had been a victim of domestic violence for many years, in court, this man was allowed to paint his wife as a lying, drunken, scarlet woman.
I won't have those lies about her made and no one stand up and tell those 3 children your mother was not a drunk. Your mother didn't stay out and leave you home alone in your beds. That was not your mother.
She wasn't an unfit mother.
She was an exceptional mother.
I was horrified. It was history repeating itself. You know, here we were 12 years on and the same case is going on in New South Wales. I think what it says is that women in New South Wales aren't worth as much as women in Victoria.
So it's almost like the victim is put on trial.
The perpetrator, he becomes the victim. He's the poor man. And she's portrayed as somebody that's out to destroy him, who pulls the rug out from under his feet. And so a provocation trial becomes about her character, not his.
Even though the jury saw through Cullen's lies and convicted him of murder, Jane Ashton is still furious he was able to use the provocation defence at all. The same defence which James Ramage, the killer of her sister Julie, used to escape a murder charge.
Mr. Ramage, Allison Langdon from 60 Minutes. Just wondering if I can ask you some questions, please, about the killing of your wife. You bashed and strangled Julie, then buried her in a shallow grave. Do you think it's fair that you're now a free man?
You're disgusting.
Do you feel that you got away with murder?
Allison Langdon?
Do you feel safe with this man? The judge said he held great concern for any future partners of Mr. Ramage.
Come on.
How did she provoke you?
Why can't you leave him alone?
Do you think it's fair that you only spent 8 years in jail? That your children no longer have a mother? Do you think that's fair, Mr. Ramage? No answer?
Jane Ashton will never forgive Ramage. Not only did he kill her beloved sister, he made himself out as the victim. When provocation rears its head, there is no justice. It's time that cowards who kill can't hide behind the antiquated defence, "She provoked me."
What do you hate more, him or the law that allowed him to get off a murder charge?
I hate what he did to my sister, but I hate even more the process, the law that allowed him to drag her name through the courts. And I just wonder how many more cases like my sister's there's got to be before people wake up.